our last Ordinary Time Great Green Growing Sunday, and next Sunday will be in Advent, that blue time of getting ready for the mystery of Christmas. Now, before I show you our liturgical calendar, that sort of felt board that's how the church tells time, I want you to think, where will our arrow point today? Do you have a picture in your mind of what that might look like? Let's see if you're right. That's right, pointing to our last Green Sunday. I'm also excited to tell you that today we have a guest storyteller. It's Sarah Simmons, and she was our guest storyteller for November Elementary Worship. Today she's going to share the story of the Holy Family, and that helps us get ready for Advent. After we hear her story, I'm going to take you on a little field trip to show you some other Holy Family sets around our church that are similar and yet different from the ones that she's going to use to tell today's story. I want you to think about where you are in this story, what part you like best. And there are parts that are going to be very familiar, but maybe you've never thought about this story from the perspective of a cow or a donkey. What about these animals in the story? Where are they in the story of the Holy Family?
This is the Christ child. He is holding out his arms to give you a big hug. This is Mother Mary. This is Father Joseph. This is the donkey that Mary and Joseph rode to Bethlehem to be counted by Roman soldiers. Now Mary was pregnant, so it was hard for her to walk, so sometimes she rode the donkey. But riding the donkey while pregnant was also hard, so sometimes she walked. Here is the cow that was in the stable that the Christ child was born in. It was funny because the cow found baby Jesus in his feed box, the manger. So he was surprised when he went to go get his breakfast. Here is the shepherd that saw the great light. Now there was more than one shepherd, but we're going to use this shepherd to remember all of them. And with the shepherd were many, many sheep. Here is the angel that spoke to the shepherds. Now one night the shepherds were in the field and it was dark. And all of a sudden there was this big light and they became very scared. And they were afraid until they realized the words that this angel was bringing to them. The angel was there to say, to bring peace on earth and goodwill to all people. The angel also told them to go to Bethlehem, so they went. Here are the three kings, or known as the three wise men. In their language, they were known as magi. Now magi is where we get our word called magic. A lot of people thought that these men were magic because they knew a lot of information and were very knowledgeable. They were experts at the stars. One night they noticed a star in the sky that wasn't on their maps, and this star moved. So they followed this star all the way to the stable where the Christ child was, and they brought him gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Here is the little baby reaching out his arms to give you a very big hug. Now, this baby would grow up to die on a cross. And while that is very sad, it's wonderful in an Easter kind of way. Now, he can reach out and give the whole world a hug. He is not just back then, or here or there, but God is everywhere around us, all the time. I wonder what part of the Holy Family you liked best. I wonder if you have ever seen the Holy Family in our church. And I wonder what part of the Holy Family is most important to you.
Thank you so much for joining us for Godly Play today. I hope you'll hold on to our story of the Holy Family, keep it close to your heart as we head into Advent over the next few weeks. I also hope that maybe you've got a Holy Family or nativity set at your house, one that you love to retell, to move the figures around, that you can play with. Because that's the play of Godly Play, is touching these wooden figures and retelling the story. But your figures don't have to be wooden. They don't have to look like mine at all. They could be Lego minifigs. They could be made out of rocks or stone or plastic, whatever you enjoy playing with. But I do hope you'll tell and retell this story at your house. Hearing today's story reminded me of a nativity set that we have here at church. And usually during Advent, it's actually on the altar. And then the rest of the year, it's on display in a special glass case. So we can see it, but we can't touch it. And it's very precious. Let's take a look at it right now. It's outside Jubilee Hall in our Parish Life building. This artist made detailed expressions on the figures' faces. And that's a beautiful thing, and that's one artist's interpretation. But I really love the nativity set that we use here in our classroom. Now you might say, oh, Miss Scott, it's so boring, it's so plain, but that's okay. We don't know for sure what Joseph looked like, what color hair Mary had, what color eyes Jesus had. But guess what? I can use my imagination and I can fill in those gaps. And maybe the picture I have in my head of what those shepherds look like is different from the one that you have, and that's okay. We get to make our own interpretation, like the artist did who made that beautiful porcelain set that we just looked at. I also hope that you will Think about this story. Maybe think about it from the animals' perspectives. And think about where you are in this special story as we get ready for Advent. Now you can tell the worship cloth behind me is green. Next week it'll be blue. We'll be in that blue time of Advent. It is so good to journey together towards Bethlehem. Thank you for joining us. Have a great week.